Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to now finish off the top 10 favorite Nick shows. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but I did have to deal with the 50 sub special montage on the main channel because we made it to, at this point, over 50 subs. Thanks guys, we've made it so far, so good as both of these channels have progressed. Now, before I get off topic, let's start the top 10 favorite Nickelodeon shows, part 2. Nickelodeon! Number 5. Ren and Stimpy. Alright, now, here's where my humor preference comes into play, because Ren and Stimpy was my kind of humor. Now, I'm not saying I'm this mega edgelord that only likes gore, however, I do love the fact that Ren and Stimpy was a show that liked to push the limitations of standards and practices, and go for a new, fresh way of comedy when it comes to a Nicktoon, which made it more unique. Another show that did this same tactic was Rocko's Modern Life. There are actually way too many examples on funny jokes that Ren and Stimpy shows on how its humor may be pushing the limitations on what you can and cannot do when you're airing a show on national television. And it was only a matter of time before the show would take it way too far. Anyways, all accusations of being a sick pedophile that manipulates 15-year-old girls and possesses child pornography aside, John K. did a damn sure good job of making a cartoon show. Number 4. The Fairly Odd Parents. It's another Nick show that's humorous, entertaining, and creative. And not to be one of those crappy animation channels that like to take a huge dump on the same things over and over again, but it is the truth. The Fairly Odd Parents is one of those shows that was dragged out for way too long, and it was to the point where the new writers themselves didn't know what to do with the show, to the point where they just constantly added characters for absolutely no reason, ruining its fresh nature and making it look like an obvious idea that was just thrown together just so the show can make it for another 7 seasons. Now, I'm pretty sure we all know the 4 reasons why the show died. Number 1. The show aired for way too long. I mean, seriously, Bush, Obama, and Trump had all served as president and the show was still airing. Number 2. Too many characters. The show had an oversaturation of characters around season 9, and it never seemed to stop, to the point to where some characters just faded into obscurity because of how truly pointless they actually were. Number 3. Butch Hartman leaving Nickelodeon. I don't think I really need to elaborate on this, because it kind of speaks for itself. But just because I want to, I'm going to elaborate on why the show died because Butch Hartman left Nickelodeon. Because it's very simple. Butch Hartman knew what he was doing when he was writing this cartoon. He knew what he was doing when he was directing this cartoon. And he knew the way he was going to direct it. And without him, the charm of the show kind of left. It's kind of like when Chris Savino got accused for sexual harassment allegations, and he left Nickelodeon because of that. Well, got suspended or fired because of that. So then the show lost its charm, and then ratings slowly went down, on top of the fact that the new writers didn't really know what they were doing, nor did they really care, causing the show to die off even faster than it already was. So, yeah. That's a more in-depth explanation on why it died just because Butch Hartman left. Because it wouldn't make so much sense if I were to just leave it at that, so I had to elaborate on it a bit more. I wasn't going to leave you guys hanging. Okay, on to number 4. Number 4. This little demon spawned from hell. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a little carried away there, but I'm pretty sure we can all safely agree that this thing was like a tumor on the show's back. She made no sense, she ruined the concept of Timmy having godparents, and she was just a shameless, poor decision on the staff's part. I mean, a fairy shortage? Are you kidding me?! Okay, I think I need to calm down. I think this is starting to become a top 10 worst Nickelodeon list if I continue on how the show was worse and how it died off, so I'm just gonna go with this, on how good the show was while it was in its prime. You see, the show, while it was in its prime, from its few seasons when it was still fresh, new, and the concept was still good when they constantly didn't start to add characters, the show was funny. It was able to introduce concepts and a storyline that fit perfectly, and the characters were all charming in a way. Now, Cosmo, personally, like, if I were to go more in depth, he's more of a stupid character because the majority of the time cartoons have that one character that isn't as intelligent as the rest in the show, but still they're able to make good jokes and able to make good plot lines off of Cosmo's intelligence alone. There are some episode instances I can't pull out any specifically, but I do remember some. The show could always keep you intrigued and interested no matter what the plot was, due to the characters being so well developed throughout the series' progression, and how well they introduce you to the characters when they first arrived. So yep, that's the Fairly Odd Parents. It was a great show, and it will always be remembered as an artifact and a legendary cartoon in Nickelodeon history. Number 3. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was more of a straight-edge slice-of-life show, and as a large portion of Nicktoons back in the 90s, this was the show that was more realistic and sometimes emotional with the character development that goes along with each character as the show progresses. As time passes, the characters pass along with time each season. The show often taught lessons about growing up in life and stimulates how, in a kid scenario, considering a majority of the characters in the show were kids, like the targeted age demographic Nick was aiming for, which was perfect. It mastered the art of being an appealing show that kids would watch while simultaneously teaching lessons about life and morals as you grow up. Now, the show wasn't always about morals. Sometimes there'd be funny dialogue between characters, or funny scenes in general. Too bad I can't show you guys though because of fucking copyright, but if you have Hulu or some pirated website that shows it for free like me, you can see the brilliance and greatness that is Hey Arnold. Number 2. SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, we all knew this was coming. A hell of a lot, if not everyone, loves SpongeBob, and it's not just for no reason either. This show has earned its spot on one of the best Nick shows ever. It was funny, it was clever, and it taught lessons in a unique way. One of my favorite episodes with a moral ended up being Can You Spare a Dime? However, I won't spoil the story if you somehow didn't watch it. The characters in the show all had different qualities to each other. They weren't one-dimensional, and they all had their own special ways, which is why everyone had their own personal favorite character. The animation was beautiful, making the show look like a good example on how good hand-drawn animation can look like. And because of my love for the ocean, I could tell the animators put a lot of effort into making their show look appealing. Now, I'm not saying digital animation is rancid and horrible. It can be good too, but hand-drawn animation just has its own style. I'm pretty sure that explains why the show was so great, but you all might be wondering why I said seasons 1 through early season 4. The reason, because I think maybe the first 4 to 5 episodes of season 4 were still pretty good to me. It's only because the rest of season 4 was crap. Many people shame the entirety of every SpongeBob episode beyond the last episode of season 3, but I think it's a bit too harsh. You should check out a few episodes of season 4 yourself. I consider them okay. And everyone has their absolute favorite SpongeBob episode. If you guys were wondering what that was, my absolute favorite episode of all time was the Krusty Krab training video. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering why I put SpongeBob at only number 2, considering a lot of people love the show, and it would be pretty predictable if I'd end up putting that at number 1. Well, I will say, guys, that there is one, and only one cartoon that I would choose for the best Nickelodeon show of all time. Number 1. Invader Zim. Invader Zim has got to be my absolute favorite Nick show ever. I first watched it back on Nicktoons in 2012, and ever since then, I was in love with it. The humor was quirky, and there seemed to be a fade between protagonist and antagonist, and it was all up to you on who you'd want someone to succeed. Either you wanted Zim, the alien invader from an Earthern planet destined to enslave the entire human race and take Earth for his own to succeed, or you wanted Dib, the paranormal investigator outcasted by society due to his view on paranormal beings like aliens destined to expose Zim for who he really is to save the Earth to succeed. Though I do believe many people would want Zim to succeed, I'd root for Dib. Fucking normal thing! Now wait. Hear me out. Honestly, would you want your planet to be enslaved by another race of beings and captured by a distant alien society? I think the writer and director, Jonan Vasquez's goal was to write the characters in a way to where it was up to the viewer to choose on who they'd want to succeed. It was so well written, in my opinion. Usually the basis of an episode was Zim attempting to take over the world, only for his rival Dib to get in the way. Zim battling Dib, and most likely Zim failing either because of his incompetence, Gur screwing things up, or rarely Dib thwarting Zim's plans. Again, an extremely basic premise, but due to the fictional capability, it's limitless due to Dib being a son of a scientist who has access to advanced technology, and Zim being a fucking alien life form. This gave the writers some freedom and ability to make crazy concepts that were usually always entertaining. Sometimes, it is even always focused on the rivalry of Zim and Dib. Sometimes it was based on a character or characters, or something random. Either way, the writers do an excellent job. The show's final episode ended on a Christmas special in 2002 and ran reruns until 2006. However, I was able to watch episodes of Invader Zim either on the internet or Nicktoons in the early 2010s. It's also on Hulu, so I urge you guys to check out the show. It's an underrated show that's faded into obscurity, and it does deserve some praise. Trust me, it's definitely worth something watching. From its weird humor and crazy plots, Invader Zim, in my book, is the best Nick show of all time. Alright guys, that was my top 10 favorite Nickelodeon shows. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This took a hell of a lot of work, even for its first top 10. So leave a like or dislike for ratings purposes, and say in the comment section if you'd like to see them more. And I have a voting booth that should be popping up right about now. So vote there on what I should make a top 10 on. Cartoon Network, Boomerang, or a free-for-all. Free-for-all meaning a cartoon from any company or brand. Be sure to vote, and if you like my content, subscribe. You guys can argue about which cartoons you thought should have been on the list, even though it was my opinion, or be more polite and just talk or leave a constructive criticism in the comments below. Until then, I'll see you guys later. See ya.